Hi everyone, my name is Ryan,
And my name is Travis.
and welcome to our wisdom adventure.
Thanks for joining us where we try and get better every day. We try and learn something new every day and hopefully find some things that we can apply and make the world a little bit better place.
So Trav, the 5 a.m. Club, a book that I'd read earlier and I really liked and I wanted to share it with you.
Yeah.
And so we reread it again together, and we're going to do a little bit different of a review / more of our thoughts, just because it is kind of a different book. So
Yeah.
Trav, get into it I haven't heard your thoughts yet, so I'm interested to hear. What are your thoughts on the book by Robin Sharma, the 5 a.m. Club?
When I got this book, I thought it was going to be like typically any other like self-development book. Mm-hmm. It's going to lay out the structure of here's the things that are potentially you're doing wrong, or here's the things you didn't know, then here's the things that you should know, and then here's what to do to make your life better. That's the types of books we have been reading, and that's the title of the book makes you think that, all right, they're just going to get into it. This is what I need to be doing at 5 a.m.
Here's the formula to perfect everything.
Yeah. So totally wildly inaccurate. Spoiler alert. So it starts out as a story about other people. And then, so it's funny, it was funny to track with my thoughts kind of as I was reading this, to like it starting to come out that this is different than what I expect. So it starts with a story, and you're in the third person, and you're like, at first I was like, is this a real person that I'm reading about?
Yeah.
Like, once again, I had zero conception about what this was about. So I'm like, there's kind of this unraveling that was going on, which was funny. And then all of a sudden you start to realize, oh, this is like fiction.
Yeah.
Like, this is actually a story, and he frames his teachings through other people's lives.
Yeah.
And it was just funny, the track my mind took to actually get to that point, to realizing this is not just your everyday run-of-the-mill, just like, here's the list, here's what you do, here's the results. So when you read it for the first time, what were your feelings about it?
I think, because I've never read a fiction book, not except for maybe in school, like when you have to read them. I've never chosen to read a fiction book on my own, just because reading has not been normally something I really enjoy for leisure. So I've always thought, if I'm going to read a fiction book, I'll just watch TV or play video games.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I was reading it, it was a page turner for me. Like I couldn't wait to read it again. But yeah, it was kind of the same thing. You realize, is this fiction? Is this guy real? And then I'm Googling him and Googling the characters, and I'm like, I'm confused. Is it a real story that's based on someone's life and he's using different names? Because I don't think it's him. I've looked him up. He's not a billionaire. But I've looked up the setting, and it's real. But it's just like the weird details in the book of like butterflies landing on his finger or his ear and just like hanging out there, and the birds, and like he talks about this mysterious connection between the main character Stone Riley and nature, and just he figured out this new power that's unlocked, and he's all crediting it to the 5 a.m. Club of elevate your morning, elevate your life, and therefore getting up at 5 a.m. and doing, what the process is they describe, you just become better.
Yeah.
So it was weird. It was very weird. It was like you're reading and reading and reading until you're like, all right, next chapter they'll talk about the secrets. Next chapter, and you're like, you're 200 pages in before you get into anything about the 5 a.m. Club, which is the title of the book. So one of the weirdest books I've read, but like I've told you before, I think my favorite book up to this time, because it just kind of turned reading into something fun for me, which I haven't had before.
That's cool. Yeah.
But weird book for sure.
Yeah. And I would say my kind of like overall experience or view of it was, so at the very beginning, I was very intrigued. It kind of pulls you in.
Definitely.
And then I will say I was almost like, not like let down, but I was definitely like, it was that moment when you realize your expectations and the real world just didn't meet on what it was going to be and what I thought. So I honestly kind of had this moment of like, is this going to be a slog to get through? Because I actually really enjoy, and I will read these, I hate the word self-help. I always use like leadership books, development books, just because I hate it's like a buzzword.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy reading those. So I'm like, and then I enjoy reading fiction separately. So I was like, I really don't know how this is going to work with these two meshed together. So it was actually for the first couple chapters, like you read the first chapter I was in, then I kind of realized what it was going to be. It actually was a little bit of work. There's a little bit of work to get through. And then it starts picking up. And then you kind of start to see what he's trying to do. You're starting to see the ideas that he's trying to actually show you. And then it became much more, it became much more enjoyable to read.
Yeah.
But I would have these weird moments where I would literally be like wondering if the person he's referencing now is a real person.
Yeah.
Because he references real people for quoting. Like there's all these quotes that are from authors and leaders and so I'm like, if it's someone's name that I've never heard of, I'm like, wait, is this a real person? So it was kind of a trip. It was honestly a little it was weird. It was different.
It was.
But I will say, I think to the credit of the author, I think that's what makes this book better than another book to just read with these thoughts and ideas, is because the way that he frames it, the way that he pitches it and delivers it. He could have just said, all right, 5 a.m. club, own your morning, elevate your life, and walk through everything that needs to be said about that and deliver it. But he doesn't. And I think actually the really big pull for me, what makes this book still worth reading, even though like I definitely had some, just worries about it reading it, was he makes you want to be a part of something that's happening in the book.
Yeah.
Because he's creating characters in an environment that you would want to be associated with. And so it all of a sudden, I think he kind of creates this atmosphere that you feel like you're missing out on.
Yeah.
So he's creating now not just, the science behind and the, kind of the benefits behind why you should do this, but he's literally creating a story that's showing what happens when that is implemented, and it's showing this journey. And so I think that's the pull of this. I think that it's almost why I kind of think it's a lot better idea than I might have would have thought of it was before. In that it's literally creating characters now that you're like, well, I want what that is, or like I would want to experience or try and get a hold of something like that. So I think that's really where the strength is of this book, and that he's able to put his thoughts in about what he thinks you should do. Reading this book, we see all of the correlations of the other studies, the other books, to what aligns in with what he's saying, and that you should be doing it, and we totally agree.
Yeah.
Do you think that not have reading other books, or if you were just reading this fresh and new and reading about the things that, like the reasons why you should be doing things, do you think you would take it with the same credibility?
I don't think it matters for where I stood, because this was a entry level book of me getting into just reading. Whether I believe or implement anything in this entire book, it got me to then read other books, and I've been able to get stuff from them as well. And I have got stuff from this book, but it's more, it inspired me to want to read, because it gave me the hope of why I want to read and learn, but it also gives you the fear a little bit of you're missing out if you don't partake in it.
Yeah.
And realizing that no matter what you take out of this book, and whether I do it at 5 a.m. or not, I want to be a learner, and which is going to take reading and having experiences and talking to people. And I guess that was enough of a reason. So I know I kind of dodged the question a little bit, but
no, I think that's good.
But with having other stuff, everything makes more sense reading other books, and where we've talked about habits. The part that I really enjoyed about is because just as I've been getting older and learning, and we're growing and maturing, the thing he talks about, the mindset, heart set, soul set, and health set, is coming from a place that he's not talking about it from a religious perspective. He's just talking about human nature. And in that, I also agree with, and I have a hard time doing one without the other. And if I don't have one, I seem to lack on all the others. So I just enjoyed that. He wasn't saying do this or you won't get better. He was just talking about how if you truly want to have an enjoyable life and experience joy, there's different aspects, these different quarters, I guess, in your life. And we talk about seasons too. And so it related to me where I could relate and think, I enjoy that. I care about my health of my physical body, my mental body, emotionally. Yeah. I like that. And that was something that specifically touched me and encouraged me and made me relate to it better, but also believe more of the stuff he was saying.
Okay. I feel like I appreciate that view, because I read this with already reading a lot of our other books that talk about a lot of the things he's suggesting, that talk about the science, that talk about these benefits, that talk about the understanding of the world. So it was easy for me to know that this was credible, because I'm like, yes, I agree with that. I've seen and I've read that before. So I don't really know, like, me, it's impossible to know how I would view it without reading those other things. I feel like it would be hard for me to give this more credibility of those things he's talking about, because you're still detached from it, because it is a story. And so I think it kind of rides this weird line of, you're like, what part of this is fiction and what part of this is fact?
Yeah.
So I think having that perspective of it's like, maybe it helps you emotionally connect with these ideas before you can intellectually connect with them. I think that's an important point. I think maybe for me that just isn't as necessary, because I just like connecting with these points intellectually anyways. Yeah. But I think that this is just a book that offers a different experience and can gain a different audience than maybe just your typical, like, hey, here's your habits. Here's this type of list of things. A lot of people they don't like reading because they don't want it to be work. Yeah. And so this offers a different avenue of that. Totally. So I think there's definitely credit to that. Thanks everyone for joining us today as we talked about the 5 a.m. club and just trying to get a little bit of wisdom to implement in our life every day.
Yeah, thank you again. And we want to invite you on this journey with us. No matter who you are, we want to hear what you have to say and how you think. And this is something that it's fun for us to interact with you and then invite you on the journey of understanding that it's okay to think a little bit differently and to learn and to question. So comment below, tell us what you want to hear more of, and we're excited to hear from you.